Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
How you like that, boy?
There are some whores in this house.
Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
And then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Yosemite's one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
But you haven't.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
Amazing.
He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Big, massive dumps.
Oh, I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
Somebody sent me a thing this morning where they're talking about putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
You see, this is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is very real.
You ain't seen nothing yet until you see the flaming butthole.
Putting us on our knees to China.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
In Venezuela.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? Wednesday, 420. So, yes, welcome to the show. It is Wednesday, and it is also 420. So, yes. I guess smoke them if you got them, if that's a thing that you still do. And so, go ahead and do so. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves, especially the places where it's legal. All right. So we're back. Yesterday wasn't feeling so well, for those of you who are asking, so I'm feeling a little bit better today. Every once in a while, my IBS likes to kick my ass. And so, all these fun things. But we're back. We're here. We're going to have fun. And we're also not going to have fun because that's what the show's about. Disaster and fun all in the same show. So not only will you come in, okay, so there's a couple of possibilities. You will either come in happy and leave depressed, or you will come depressed and sometimes leave happy, or I guess we're adding a third thing. You will come in depressed, be happy, and then leave depressed. I mean, this is different combinations, I guess, you could of thereof. But whatever. Nonetheless, this is a weird show already. All right, I promise you, I have not partaken in 420. That said, let's go, and we're going to talk about numbers. We got numbers, okay? We've got, apparently, according to a Republican congresswoman, billions of immigrants trying to cross the border. I'm not kidding. This is what they're claiming. We're going to talk about that. We got Mike Pillow. That should be fun. We got Libs of TikTok. What is Libs of TikTok? Well, it is neither Libs nor TikTok. I'm going to explain that and tell you what's going on. And why conservatives are mad. Because conservatives always seem to be very mad. DeSantis. Nothing about the don't say gay stuff or anything like that. No. This is a good money and politics story. So we're going to talk about that as well. And then Greg Gutfeld says, oh, you know what? I'd rather go to war than cancel student debt. Okay, then. Fun. All right. So anyway, that's the story. That's the breakdown. Let's get into it. And let's see. Math. Apparently, math, very difficult. Very difficult. Okay. A Republican congresswoman is getting mocked on social media after she claimed that a billion, yes, billion with a B, a billion migrants have been arrested by Border Patrol over the last 6 months. That is 1,000 times more than the actually arrested. So now they cited a piece from the Wall Street Journal, which clearly states in its headline that 1 million people were arrested at the southern border. Now, I'll get to those numbers, right? By the way, this is Republican Debbie Lesko. And so let me show you this tweet here. But again, here it is. Border Patrol agents have apprehended more than 1 billion migrants at our southern border in just 6 months. President Biden's open border policies are fueling this crisis. But wait, Debbie. If we had open borders, why are people getting arrested and deported? I mean, obviously the presence of Border Patrol and strict entry policies and arrests and deportations would contradict the idea that we have a porous border and that all these migrants are just flooding in. Now, of course, facts don't matter. Because of course. Now, here's the thing. I don't think this is a mistake. Honestly. It's very, very easy to call her a moron. Because, well, I mean, regular, normal people would look at that and think, no, that's a moron. But no, I think it's actually worse than that. I think what she did was pull a Dr. Evil. We've got over a million migrants coming into the United States just in the past 6 months. And then somebody says, ma'am, it's probably a staffer or something. Ma'am, a million's just not scary enough. They're never gonna believe that. Oh, okay. How about 1 million migrants? Pretty soon, Lesko's gonna shave her head and adopt a mini her. I mean, by the way, there is no way that someone could be that stupid. Where's her campaign staff? Don't they run her Twitter? Don't they run her social media? Are they gonna have to keep what? Are they gonna have to keep her in a straitjacket to stop her from tweeting ridiculous, dumb things, insanely stupid, and incorrect things? By the way, that tweet still up. That's amazing. Now, before I get to some dunking, I've got facts. According to new data released by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, on Monday, border crossings are at their highest level in the past 2 decades. So, do we have an issue with a lot of migrants crossing the border? Yeah, we do. Now, is that a result of Joe Biden's border policies? What exactly are Joe Biden's border policies? What changes have they actually made? Right now, we are still under Donald Trump's border policies. I mean, you can't look, at Congress and be like, okay, what border policies has Congress passed and Joe Biden has signed? Was there a gigantic array of executive orders that dissolved the border somehow magically? No, what we're doing is we're still doing the Trump policies of Title 42. Now, Title 42, border agents can and do turn away most migrants, including legal asylum seekers. Now, I think it's really important to point out because asylum seekers should obviously, they do have a legal right to come into the border, to come into the country and request asylum. These are the people that are running from wars, natural disasters, state violence, etc. Yes, and that includes Ukrainians. Now, not that Republicans care, because this happened under Trump, and they enjoyed the cruelty when it was happening. And now, since it's still happening under Biden, they've stayed complete. No, they didn't stay silent. Now they're claiming that, oh my God, Biden's border policies, well, they're too humane. Now, Biden has kept this around, Title 42, because of COVID, basically. So now, more data. And by the way, Democrats have called out Joe Biden for keeping Title 42. It is supposed to expire May 23rd. Okay, now, more data. According to the Customs and Border Patrol, out of a total of 221,303 migrants stopped by Border Patrol at the southern border, half were processed for expulsion under Title 42. Since October, Border Patrol agents have arrested more than 1 million people in March alone. The number of people arrested while attempting to illegally cross the U.S.-Mexico border was 209,906, while 11,397 migrants were allowed into the country. By the way, it's not as if these are all people that we've never seen before, 1 million a month, right? No, a lot of the people that were arrested and turned back were people that had already tried to cross numerous times. And so they get caught, they get arrested, they get deported, and then they come right back, and then they get arrested, they caught, deported, they come back, arrested, caught, deported. And so you see how that actually also inflates the numbers. But what, of course, Lesko did was massively overinflate the numbers by a ton. Yeah. So what I'm trying to point out is that we do not have porous or open borders by any stretch of the imagination. The vast majority of people are being caught and sent back. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to these people. Okay? Look, understand that the Republicans want everyone sent back. No immigrants, they say. I mean, if you're brown. If you're white, come on in. But if you're brown or you're black, well, kick them out because we don't like you. We hate them. Okay, Republicans, just admit that you're racist and we'll move on. Now, according to the report, Mexicans make up the largest group by nationality crossing the border. However, there was a rise in the number of migrants from Cuba and Ukraine, with 32,271 Cubans crossing the southern border illegally in March and 79,377 this year until the latest data recording. So, all right. Well, Republicans, a lot of Cuban Americans, people that have immigrated from Cuba or migrated from Cuba, tend to vote for Republicans. Are they? But all they see is a Latino and think, nope, oh, you're brown. You're automatically a Democratic voter. Again, racist. So now let's get to the dunks. Let's have some fun with the dunks. One person says, "Dear Congresswoman Lesko, this is how big the number 1 billion is. There are not enough hours in the day or law enforcement officers of any kind anywhere to apprehend that many people." True. All right. Another person, journalist David Little, says, "You honestly believe that nearly 13% of the world's entire population attempted to cross the border between Mexico and the United States in a 6-month period?" Maybe, I don't think they do believe it. But does it sound good to Republicans? Yes, it activates their fear center. Oh my God, 1 billion! It's an invasion! It's an invasion! They were right! That's right, it's an invasion! No, turn on your brain. Think for a minute. Dispel the fear. That's all they want you to feel is fear. All right. Another person wrote, "Border Patrol successfully stopped 10 times the population of Mexico from crossing the border, which means we must close our border to prevent crossings that already aren't happening by the billions." Another person adds, "Math is hard. We understand. Have you considered a job that doesn't require strong math comprehension?" Another person says, asks, have you banned math in Arizona too? That's, of course, a reference to a story that we did and a lot of media covered, where Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis banned like 42 math books, or no, was it 52 math books? I mean, they literally have a war on math, and this is the result. They can't do the math. Another person says, I shouldn't have to say this, but understanding how numbers work ought to be a prerequisite for being in Congress. True. True. And finally, the manager of Hunter Biden's laptop, that's her handle, had a little bit of a fun spin, saying, wow, almost an eighth of the world's population apprehended? Biden's a miracle worker. Impressive work, Border Patrol. God damn. No wonder Republicans want to ban math. They seem to really suck at it. I mean, it's true. All right. We'll do a quick Mike Pillow segment, and then we'll get to Libs at TikTok. So. Oh boy, here we go again. Notorious Nostradamus Mike Pillow has another prognostication for you all, which means it's time for an episode of Pillow Talk.
God gave me this platform. I already know I'm going to win. China did our vote. Biden and Harris would say, hey, we're here to protect the country, and resign. Mike Lindell's a conspiracy. But you haven't. Just forget about the evidence. This was attacked.
Ah, yes. 2 years after the election, with prediction after prediction that has failed to come true, Mike Lindell has made yet another one. This time, claiming that he's going to get a preliminary injunction from the court so shocking that even people like myself had to be like, God damn, that is shocking. In fact, here he is, making that new prediction. Take a look.
We are the preliminary injunction. The first one in the United States is going to come out on Thursday. We're looking at Thursday, if everything goes right. Now, I'm not going to give all the details. There's a lot of surprises. It's going to shock the country, as a matter of fact, how we're doing these and how they're going down. So all you journalists out there that are watching, you know who I'm talking about. All you that write the stupid stories on, this subpoena, that subpoena. How about talking about the biggest crime in history, and how about these preliminary injunctions and what we're doing with the evidence? Well, we're taking the evidence from the machines, because we know what's inside them.
We know what's inside the machines. Really. But he can't tell us, though. He cannot tell us what's in the machines, because it will be so shocking. No, you know what would be shocking? Is if he actually told us something. Like if he actually said something honest for once. That would be shocking. I would be very shocked. Look, these are nothing more than mad rantings from somebody who is addicted to the grift. Again, and the reason, and I know some of you ask me, like, why do you bring up Pillow Man? Why do you talk about him? Why do you give him a platform? For one, he's got a bigger platform than I do, which is sad. But look, he campaigns with people all over the country, with Republican candidates. Some of them go on to win, He gets huge applause from the chuds that decide to show up. And it's not an insignificant number. There's a third of the country that has lost their minds. And so those people, they show up, they cheer for him. Hey, election fraud, Chinese, Iranians, Pomeranians, they stole the election from us. And then they go and buy his shitty pillows. And so what I'm talking about here is the grift industrial complex. And ignoring it doesn't make it disappear. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It exists massively in the right wing. And all this election talk, still, 2 years after, is the grift that keeps on grifting. So, look, the only triumph here that is going to happen for Mike Lindell, the longer he keeps this up, is in his wallet. Every time he says election, election conspiracy, and says the Chinese stole the election, a Chud buys his pillows. Unfortunately, that's the reality of the Republican Party at this point. They're nothing but marks. And so this guy, complete liar, complete grifter, no evidence as usual. And on Thursday, it's going to blow up in his face. Big surprise, right? Grift industrial complexes now suddenly appeared in your verbal inventory. You know what? Honestly, it should have been there a while ago. It's really hard to put it into words, But that's exactly what it is. To think of the right phrase, right? Because that's what it is. It is an entire complex. Media figures working together with lawyers, people like Sidney Powell, going around on respective shows, Mike Pillow, doing all of this to grift, and that's what it is. The grift industrial complex, and it makes lots of money. Again, InfoWars in 3 years made $165 million. From selling just nonsense, bullshit, along with lies, of course, when it comes to Sandy Hook. So, and he's very likely going to protect his money, which is really, really sad. All right, let's move on. I also like Nina's owner donors. You are Crooked Town in Ohio, summoned the wrath of Nina. Now I'm going to have to look that up, Shade Dragon. I'm gonna have to look into that. That's really interesting. Also disastrous. My MAGA dad hated his Mike pillow that he got for Christmas. That's funny. Good. All right. Let's move on. The owner of an anonymous Twitter account has been unmasked. Now, why is this news? Why is this important? Well, I'm going to explain. So this is the Libs of TikTok, which are, again, neither Libs nor are they on TikTok. No, what they are is it's basically a Twitter account run by a formerly anonymous right-winger that would post numerous videos of LGBTQIA+ content. And so the reason that they would do that is basically to show this to the right-wing audience to get them angry, of course. So they gin up the rage, and unfortunately, as a result, it has led to numerous anti-gay and anti-trans laws all over the country. So now let me give you some details, right? So there was a recent Washington Post article that had unmasked the person behind this account, and it was basically a Brooklyn real estate agent named Shia Reichik. Okay, now it's funny because they detailed her efforts to try to break into the mainstream. So there's, numerous accounts like COVID denial. There was one where, like a parody account where she pretended to be a plant in the Biden White House. Those really didn't take off. And then election conspiracies, of course, including January 6th, where she admitted, she's like, yeah, I was at the riot. Although, of course, she didn't call it a riot. Oh, no, very, very peaceful here. As we know, not entirely peaceful, but she was at January 6th. And then finally landing on, in 2020, Libs of TikTok. So as I said, they take videos of people from TikTok and show it to the conservative audience. For example, she posted a woman teaching sex ed to children in Kentucky. Wow. Oh, okay. Sure. they decided to label her a predator, a child predator. And by the way, this is something that she's really latched onto. That account has latched onto, and as well as Fox News and a lot of the right. This is the groomer discourse. So that's not necessarily what started it, but she had, of course, amplified the groomer message. Now, that clip that she had showed on Libs of TikTok actually ended up on Laura Ingram's show, her Fox News program, with framing that teachers who teach sex ed should be fired. Teachers who are gay and say something about it, they should be fired. Look, and again, this is what they're doing. This is a right-wing cancel culture account. Literally what it is. I mean, it goes and it points out regular people, teachers, professors, instructors, people who are LGBTQIA plus on TikTok, and basically says, look at these people, we need to cancel them. Oh, terrible, they're groomers. And that's why we should cancel them. It is a cancel culture machine. And so they either get dogpiled with hate or fired. And its tweets have reached millions of social media users and has been basically used to set up the discourse for right-wing online. And so understand the whole point is right-wing cancel culture. And of course, the entire point, one of the biggest tools the right wing has always employed was trying to cancel things. They're burning books. They're canceling people. And so the irony, hopefully, should not be lost. Now, for example, Libs of TikTok also found the most success with anti-trans tweets, because of course, right? And Rychick's page leaned hard into the groomer allegations by January and called for the firing of any teacher who comes out as gay to their students. She popularized the fake conspiracy theory that schools were installing litter boxes in bathrooms for children who identify as cats. I remember doing that. I remember doing that story where there was a woman who literally went into one of the school meetings, right? School board meetings, and she's like, did you know they're putting litter boxes in the bathroom? No, I didn't know, because it's not actually happening. That's not a real thing that's happening. But obviously, and by the way, she's like, well, I've been hearing around. Where you heard it is from Libs of TikTok and all the people that have been informed by Libs of TikTok and numerous accounts like that. It's not real. It didn't actually happen. They're not putting litter boxes in bathrooms. Okay? And so, look, that's what they're doing. She's also amped up anti-LGBTQ bigotry with other dubious, very easily debunked claims. So as I said, it's cancel culture. And in fact, she boasts that her tweets have gotten teachers fired and has encouraged her followers to run for school boards and local offices. Look, I don't have any problem with encouraging people to run for office. I think that's fine. But here you can see the quote-unquote logic in this, right? So you spread a bunch of spurious allegations against teachers, have them dogpiled, send death threats so that they resign or quit or whatever, and then you get right-wingers to run, the people who are outraged and offended by all the stuff that was made up, they run, they take over the school boards. So that's what's going on here, right? Now, considering how this is cancel culture, I think it's really, really funny to point out the irony of how they got boosted by none other than so-called free speech warrior and anti-cancel culture guy, Joe Rogan. In fact, he promoted them several times in his podcast. According to Washington Post journalist Taylor Lawrence, who tracked down the account and identified their owners, its owner, quote, just 4 months after getting started, Libs of TikTok got its big break. Joe Rogan started promoting the account to the millions of listeners of his hit podcast. He mentioned it several times in a show in August and again in late September. Quote, Libs of TikTok is one of the greatest fucking accounts of all time, he said. Oh, yes, congratulations, Joe. Way to punch down at an entire community and use him as rage bait. For cancel culture. You, who were scared who are like, oh, I can't believe they would try to cancel me. All the people on the left, they're going to try to cancel me. Joe, you can't cancel me. I'm Joe Rogan. And yet, this account's all about canceling people. Yeah. So do you get the hypocrisy here? Now, Ari Drennan, LGBTQ program director for Media Matters, said this: Libs of TikTok is basically acting as a wire service for the broader right-wing media ecosystem. It's been shaping public policy in a real way and affecting teachers' ability to feel safe in their classrooms. So, now, right-wingers, they're enraged that a reporter would do their job and report things. In fact, here's what Ian Miles Chong or Chiang or whatever, here's what he said on Twitter. Doxing her is like doxing the paper boy for delivering your newspapers. It's not really in anyone's interest to know who Libs of TikTok is, because all she does is archive and collect publicly available videos that you can look for yourself if you weren't so lazy. But honestly, who cares about what people put up on TikTok? Honestly, I couldn't care less what people put up on TikTok. You know, their own opinions, right? So now this account goes and it picks these out, and it cherry picks, of course, some of the, probably the worst or cringiest ones, and then reposts them. And then, of course, delivers commentary on it as well. And so that's the other thing, right? So she'll do commentary, and then, as I mentioned before, call for the firing of such people, or for the dogpiling of such people, the attacks on these people. And so, no, no, this guy is, well, obviously he's wrong. Now, but there's more. The Washington Post exposed Libs of TikTok for what crime exactly? For the sin of showing America what leftists have in store for their children. If you're effective and anonymous, you can expect to be doxxed. It's a last-ditch effort to intimidate you into silence, said Breitbart reporter Alana Mastrangelo? I don't know. So, wait, hold on here. They're saying that, and they're claiming that the owner of the Libs of TikTok has been doxxed, and that's bad because that means she's going to get harassed. And yet, if you're familiar with the account, you realize the entire point is to harass people, is to get the people that are featured in the videos harassed. And so, come on. Now, for example, the account had misgendered purposely at least 14 individuals in 15 of its tweets so far this year, in violation of Twitter's terms of service. They got bumped for that, according to a Media Matters review. So, yeah, they got in trouble for harassment. Congratulations. As of April 13th, the 15 tweets that misgendered individuals, this was last year, have received more than 113,000 total engagements. These, of course, they're not all attacks on public figures. Yes, there are public figures that were attacked. The trans swimmer, for example, that was featured heavily on Fox News. They were included, yes, but also just random people that were dead named and misgendered. And of course, called groomers. Again, some of the worst things that you could call people: pedophiles and groomers. So understand this is what they're doing. Now, if you do that to people, what does that do? Well, it gets them, it puts them in danger of being murdered. And here's the big difference, right? And I think it's important to point this out. The right wing murders people. Not saying all of them do, obviously not. But understand that there are unhinged people on the right, and they have a lot of guns and a lot of hate, because their media is set up in a way to gin up that hatred. Now, left-wingers, they'll punch a Nazi, they'll throw a milkshake. I'm not saying that that's a good thing. I'm not advocating for violence, of course, in any circumstance, but I am trying to illustrate how the two sides aren't exactly the same. One side will murder you or get you murdered. Now, the thing about Rychick is that I don't think she's going to need to fear for her life, even though, of course, She probably will anyway, or she'll claim that she's afraid for her life. But understand the people that she targets with this stuff have much more to fear. This has led to anti-LGBT bills all over the country, like the ones in Florida and Texas. For example, DeSantis' spokeswoman, Christina Pushaw, has been heavily promoting this account. On March 28th, DeSantis signed this bill, the Parental Rights in Education, also known as Don't Say Gay. And, well, look, throughout March, right-wing figures and media responded to the criticism of the bill with ramped-up attacks accusing LGBTQ people of grooming children. Again, the groomers. The same messages initially tweeted by DeSantis spokeswoman Christina Pushaw on March 4th. So understand, in the lead up to him signing that bill, there's been a lot of pressure. Again, pressure against DeSantis, and this defense comes out pushed by Pushaw, as well as right-wing figures, Libs of TikTok, etc. In fact, they used this content from Libs of TikTok as ammunition for their arguments. Media Matters analyzed tweets from Libs of TikTok and found that in addition to posting videos targeting LGBTQ people, the account specifically used groomer-related language in 46 tweets since November 2021. The tweets earned over 220,000 total interactions. That's replies, retweets, likes, and quotes, or an average of nearly 5,000 interactions per tweet. Almost double the average interaction of the account's other tweets. Notably, the majority of the tweets with groomer-related language from Libs of TikTok, 24 out of 46, were posted before March 4th, when Pushaw tweeted similar rhetoric. So, Pushaw also repeatedly praised that account, calling it one of the best accounts on here. She also encouraged other users to look at their so-called evidence. So, look, this person has gotten a lot of attention. She's been on Tucker Carlson, anonymously, of course, and has been featured in the New York Post, The Federalist, The Post Millennial, other right-wing sites, and has been retweeted by Meghan McCain and Glenn Greenwald. Now, funny enough, Greenwald is the one who accidentally confirmed her identity in the Post, which seems to be a pattern for him. Interesting. In fact, she has taken steps to obscure her identity, but software developer Travis Brown found her account history and posted a thread detailing her profile changes. Glenn Greenwald confirmed that a house visited by a Post reporter in LA belonged to her family. Rachel claims to have run the account alone. However, Grant Lally, a lawyer and Republican operative, filed a trademark for Libs of TikTok in August as a news reporter service, but he declined to comment. Now, that's funny because back in February, she said, oh, no, we're not a news service. Quote, I don't do this for money or fame. I'm not some politician or blue check journalist. I feel like there are many small stories that are so important that aren't getting out. And that's what I'm here for. How are spreading fake news conspiracies about litter boxes and bathrooms? How's that important? Well, it's not. It's not. But if you want to fight a culture war, then you have to have ammunition, right? And this is how you do it. Now, the question is, of course, and the thing that they focused on the right is, well, I can't believe the Washington Post would dox a regular person. How dare they? How dare they dox her? So now, wait a minute. Doxing involves very specific circumstances, right? Name and address, place of employment, things like that, right? Is she being doxed? No. I read the piece in the Washington Post. No address, just her name. Just her name and the previous names for her account. And that's it. And so her address, not in the article. So what it is that it is unmasking. And by the way, unmasking is the same thing that Devin Nunes tried to do to a fictional cow. The Devin Nunes cow account on Twitter. He sued them several times, trying to find out who was running that account so he could shut them down. So now, if you have a problem with this, oh, how dare they go after her, but didn't have a problem with Devin Nunes, well, then, look, that's hypocrisy. You don't understand what doxing is. Now, here's the thing, right? So I know of a streamer on Twitch who recently got doxed, a trans streamer. Lots of death threats, lots of personal attacks, her name, and also dead name, and personal information all over now. Nonstop hate. It's Keffels, right? Harassed, threatens, accused of being a groomer. Anybody on the right defending her and saying, how dare you dox this person? No. No, of course not. They're not batting an eye. Which means they don't care about the hypocrisy. They don't care about actual real doxing. When it happens, especially to trans people, no, they can't. They love doxing trans people and then dead naming them and then urging their followers to attack them. But when it comes to just revealing the name of somebody who runs a Twitter account, when it's on their side, they're like, no, how dare you? How dare you do this? This is worse than 1984. Docs, you are putting their life in danger. No, bullshit. Absolute bullshit. They're outraged by fake doxing, but love the stochastic terrorism ravaging Wolverine. Yes, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Sir Mandolin says Keppel is the boss. Yep. I hear that she is the transgender CEO. I heard that somewhere. No, it wasn't bad. I do agree. Ben is pretty awesome. Okay. Let's move on. We got a money and politics story that I think you'd be very interested in. All right. Real estate developers, investors, and realtors who have profited from Governor Ron DeSantis' move to reopen Florida ahead of other states during COVID-19 are now showing their appreciation by showering him and his campaign with cash. Fun. Now, a Politico analysis of campaign contribution disclosures found that the real estate industry donated more than $7 million to Ron DeSantis in the past year, making it one of the largest donor groups. Some $2.5 million of that came from real estate industry players who previously had not given or had been dormant for several elections. Now, anybody who is claiming still that political contributions do not equal corruption or influence is either not paying attention or you are in on it. Because it is very clear what is going on here. And the amounts that are given are not insignificant. In fact, according to the analysis, DeSantis now has $96 million cash in the bank, a sum vastly larger than the combined $10 million cash on hand for his three Democratic challengers. Representative Charlie Crist, who used to be a Republican, by the way, Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried, and Florida State Senator Annette Taddeo. So, look, 96 million to 10 million. Again, all in the field. Who's got all the money here? Now, look, Republicans generally have a cash advantage, especially if you're an incumbent. That comes with it, and even more so if you've given the industry everything that they want. But this amount of money, it just blows everything out of the water. Now, other donors to DeSantis, hospitality, for example, they gave him huge sums of money. Healthcare, insurance, finance. However, out of all of those donors, real estate is the top donor. Now, of course, you're not going to be shocked as to why. One industry executive said this, simply put, quote, I think it's a combination of two things. We absolutely support all the Keep Florida Open business policies the governor has adopted, said Carlos Barra, a Sarasota County home builder, longtime Republican donor. The second thing, I call it the COVID phenomena in real estate. Unfortunately, COVID has been a terrible plague on us. But in the real estate industry, there has been a boom. Oh, okay, so COVID, terrible plague. But hey, guess what, guys? We're getting rich. Everything's all right. No, he added, everyone in the industry just has more walking around money. How did they make that money? Well, you know why. Raising rents and, of course, COVID relief. Now, wait a minute. I thought real estate, I thought landlords were struggling, suffering as a result. Now, I'm sure some are, and there have been stories of some landlords or whatever struggling because guess what? Landlording is not a real job. Let's just say that. What you're doing is you're coasting along other people's money. If you're using their rent to pay your mortgage, maybe you should get a real job. Just saying. Get a real job. All right. Now, that said, he said that, by the way, to explain the increase of new real estate industry donors to DeSantis, that they have more walking around money. So now there is a direct correlation here. Real estate is actually doing phenomenal, leading to bigger donations, of course, while at the same time, there are many Floridians who are struggling to afford housing. They can't afford the rent. They can't buy homes. And so there's not enough homes, obviously, in a lot of these places. A lot of them are getting scooped up by international investors or, bigger companies. People have been priced out. In fact, rental prices have gone up 60% in Orlando over the past year. In Miami-Dade County, Mayor Daniela Levine Cava declared a state of emergency over affordable housing, calling the state's biggest county, quote, the most unaffordable place in the country. Rents have also shot up around Tampa. Hey, what happened to the free market? What happened to the free market? Oh, does the free market drive up prices? Weird how that works out. All right. Now, State Representative Anna Escamani, a Democrat from Orlando, added, it is pretty clear to me that this is the main reason why the governor will not champion housing issues and why he has been repeating industry talking points. That is driven by a desire to make money, and clearly political contributions is a mean to prohibit real action, which would require a heavier hand. Yes. Now, look, of course, is this a surprise to any of us? No, it shouldn't be. Money has always had an effect on the system. If you want to know where a politician stands, all you have to do is look at where the checks are coming from. Look at who's paying them. Honestly, if you look at a position, for example, Nancy Pelosi, right? And she says one position and then changes her position, it's because the check cleared. That's all. That's all. Look at the money. You want to talk about the swamp? Well, you talk about the swamp. You talk about the corruption. And if you want to talk about the corruption, all you have to do is follow the money. Now, in fact, there was another Republican who, by the way, is actually being honest about this. And that's Mo Brooks, of all people. Here he is talking to a group of, I believe, either donors or prospective voters. I believe it's prospective voters. Take a look.
Special interest groups run Washington. And I don't mean that metaphorically, I mean literally. Now, here is how it happens. If you want to be chairman of a major committee, you have to purchase it. And the purchase price for a major committee, say like Ways and Means, minimum bid is $1 million. So where does a congressman come up with $1 million to be chairman of one of these A committees? You can't get it from Joe and Jane Citizen, because Joe and Jane Citizen back home, they're not going to be contributing that kind of money. You have to get it from the special interest groups. And with the special interest groups, there is a quid pro quo. If you don't do what they tell you to do, they won't give you the money that finances your chairmanship.
If you don't do what they tell you to do, you ain't getting the money. Now look, Mo Brooks is a lot of things, okay? But in that moment, he is being incredibly honest. That is very, very rare. Nothing that he said there is incorrect. Yes, it's the money. It's the money. Follow the money, always. Now, again, Brooks talks about it in regards to Washington. And yes, it does work that way, but it also happens in the states. California Governor Gavin Newsom, for example, got a lot of money from the healthcare industry, as well as certain politicians in the California legislature, and that's why they shot down Medicare for All in California. Now, you also had former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo getting lots of money from special interests, real estate developers, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, as I just pointed out. They all get the money from the real estate. They all get money from special interests. And it's because real estate buys off everyone that they're able to. And it's not just real estate, but in the context of this story, real estate is, yes, one of the bigger donors. Then you look at insurance, you look at healthcare, you look at law firms, you look at banks. It's the money. It's the money. So understand that both under Democrats and Republicans, they're going to get the fat deals. And when they get a fat deal, you get a fat nothing. That's the problem. And so this isn't just an issue of vote red or vote blue, right? Or I'll even add green, okay? Because believe me, if the Green Party had enough power, the owner-donors would try to buy them too. And that's really the difference. It doesn't matter what party you vote for. You could vote for Green, you could vote for People's Party, you could vote for, Republicans, Democrats. The problem is not the parties, it's the system. You have a system of money in politics. You have a system where you have greed and legalized bribery. And when you have a system that allows those things to happen, guess what? It's going to happen no matter who you put into party or who you put into power and from what party. That's why the system overall needs to change. It is not going to be any different if you vote for green, pink, yellow, blue, or red party. No, you have to. You have to change the system. You've got to get the money out of politics. Okay. One more story. This one's a doozy. Fox host Greg Gutfeld said that he is willing to go to war to prevent student loan debt cancellation. Take a look.
College worth it? And here's the other study that says so many of the grads don't work in their fields of study. I don't think that's necessarily the issue. It's the fact that they're getting out with massive amounts of debt.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's worth it, if it's required in life. I mean, college degree is not meant to give you any knowledge. It's a signal that gets you into the club. It's a 6-figure cover charge to get you into the bar of life. It's a virtue signal, and it always has been a virtue signal. So, but now the virtue signal of a BA, bachelor's degree, is not enough. So then it's like, well, this person has a master's. Well, this person has a PhD. You're now in an arms race of degrees, and the hangover is you pay it off later.
That's not how that works. No, people are not in an arms race of degrees. Have you ever talked to a normal person? Have you ever talked to anybody who's actually gotten a degree? No. So look, and by the way, does he believe that college isn't work? I mean, it is work unless you're rich, unless mama or papa have given endowments to the schools. And if that's the case, like for example with Trump, you can just coast through. You don't have to actually do any work. You can show up. You'll never get failed because, well, if you're failed, well, then the person who gave that endowment to the schools is going to be very, very unhappy. How dare you fail my son or your fail son or fail daughter? No, you're just supposed to pass them through, and they're not supposed to do any work. I honestly, I think a lot of the people that, the majority of the people who go through college on legacy admission didn't do any of the work because they didn't have to. They didn't have to. But all right, so now, the question was on this show, well, is it worth college? Well, not at the list price, I would say. Now, the problem is, I mean, there's two different problems here, okay? First, you have the cost of college, which is outrageous and insane. And then secondly, employers don't want to pay people, even with degrees. So now the companies say that they want educated people, but then will offer $12 to $15 an hour. And so there are people out there that have college degrees and they want to do the work. And by the way, going back to the study that was referenced, right? Oh, there's so many people that can't work in their field. That's because the people in the field, the employers, are not paying them enough to be able to handle their student loan debt, as well as offer things like health insurance. And so that's the problem here, okay? And so, look, people have to take out a ton of debt. They get paid a paltry sum for doing so. And then they're basically fucked for the next 30 years. This is not a complicated thing. But apparently for Greg Gutfeld, very, very complicated. Very complicated. But he has a very simple solution. Just join the military.
It would be a shame if we could get people out of this track and say, look, trade schools, the military, there's ways to gain experience in life so you don't end up in 6-7 figures in debt. And by the way, nobody's paying for it. You're paying for it. That's something I would go to war for. Cancel debt? No. And everybody who paid their debts would be on the military on my side.
That's right. I'm with you already.
Yes.
Isn't it kind of ironic that he says he'd be willing to go to war against canceling student debt by forcing you to go to war to pay it back? Hey, just join the military. Just join the military. Now, again, the choices here are trade schools, which are totally fine. Look, I've advocated for trade schools myself, but understand that trade schools aren't free. Yes, are there some employers that will pay for that? Yes, there actually are. But then again, not everybody's built for a trade school. Last time I welded, I set myself on fire. It was not good. I do not recommend it. I'm not a skilled trades kind of guy. And so I think I would be more of a danger to myself and my coworkers if I were to do that for a living. And the other option is join the military. But why is the military an option? Why does it have to be the military? Why should you have to go to somebody else's country who probably doesn't even want us there to be shot at by people for the benefit of a corporation, specifically an oil company? And that's if you just want to learn business or accounting or hospitality management. And again, that's also super ableist, by the way. As some of you are pointing out, hey, what about disabled people? They can't do some of those things either. Are they just not supposed to go to college either? Or are they supposed to drown in student loan debt? So, I mean, there's a lot of things that leaves out. And by the way, remember, he said that a college degree was actually not meant to give you any knowledge. It's a signal for you to get in the club. What club? What club? I'm trying to figure out what fancy club people are trying to get into. It's a 6-figure cover charge to get you to the bar of life. You think it's some sort of party that people are willing to go and get shot at or blown up for? Or to blow up poor people in another part of the world? Why would you have to do that to get an education? Why should anyone have to do that to get an education? Now, I think that if you're a patriotic American and you want to fight for your country, then you should be able to do so. Why would you have to hold out incentives that, and I say incentives, right, that other countries will do for their citizens just by virtue of them being a citizen? But we don't do that here. No, of course not. But again, had anyone had anyone there sitting at that table at the 5, did they have to go through any of that to get an education? No. Greg Gutfeld went to UC Berkeley and graduated in 1987. Do you know how much tuition was back in 1987 when he graduated? For an in-state student, it cost $1,346. That's it. Do you know how it is today? How much it is today for 1 year for an in-state resident in school? $11,442. That's for in-state. If you're an out-of-state student, $5,000. And that was, again, way back when. For an out-of-state student. It's even more insane today. Now, the total tuition and living expense budget for an in-state California resident to go to UC Berkeley is $41,528, or at least it was in 2020 and 2021 semester. I mean, that's amazing. Now, but you might say, Jeff, this is unfair because what about inflation? Now, obviously, things have gotten more expensive with time, of course. And yes, inflation, the dollar value. So now, how much would that same college tuition be in today's money? Would it be about $3,406.52? If you take what Greg Gutfeld or his parents paid to get him into college and put it in today's money, it would be $3,406.52 for a year. And how I came by that, by the way, is $1,346 in 1987 is equivalent in purchasing power to $3,406.52 today. That is an increase of over $2,060.52 over 35 years. The dollar had an average inflation rate of 2.69% per year between 1987 and today, producing a cumulative price increase of 153.8%. So, to recap, in case you're a Republican and can't understand math, it was just under $3,500 per year, or it should be, or about $14,000 for a 4-year degree. Right now, it's over $41,000 for a 4-year degree at UC Berkeley, which I do say is more expensive than the average, which is about $7,000 per year. Still, for a 4-year degree, $41,000. That if you made $15 an hour, you only make $30,000 a year. And your 4-year tuition, $41,000. Now, what do we have now? We have massive price hikes in college costs. We have forced people to, who want an education to either pay out through the nose or shoot people in the Middle East. Now, obviously, again, as I mentioned, not everybody's going to make it in the military. Not everybody's good at skilled trades. Not everybody's an able-bodied person. So what are they supposed to do? Do they have to eat this massive amount of debt they can never escape from, even through bankruptcy, thanks to Joe Biden? Because the school counselors pounded, go to college, go to college, go to college, into their heads every day in high school? Because I grew up then. That was what, go to college, you have to go to college, you have to go to college. What college are you going to go to? Every day in high school. Hey, only people who go to college are going to make it. You better figure out what you're going to do for college. So, but here's the thing. This is what people like Greg Gutfeld do not understand. And the thing that galls me the most, they had it so good. And they don't even realize it. They had it so good. They had cheap college. They had union jobs, good pay, okay? Fat pensions, benefits. But we don't have that. We don't have that anymore in America. We got Uber. We got Lyft jobs. We got Amazon warehouses. We got a political system that's dominated by corporations that will do everything they can to destroy labor movements as often as they can. Oftentimes with Democratic politicians who are supposed to be the champions of unions ignoring it. So, look, these people are so entitled, so privileged, and they think that we're the ones that are privileged. Oh, you're complaining for no reason. No, go fuck yourself, Greg Gutfeld. Absolutely unfunny hack. Comedian. No, the only thing that's funny is how wrong you are. How about Greg Gutfeld? You go back to school, but instead of touching your millions of dollars that you make from Fox News, lying to people, why don't you go and take out student loans to go and get your English degree? That's his degree. You want to talk about a useless degree? English. He's not even using it. And while you're doing it, you don't get to touch your millions. No, you have to do what average poor people do. Middle class. What the average person does. Work several jobs, bussing tables, bussing your ass to make rent in New York. You think you can do it? While you study for exams and then try to get a job to pay off your loans. You don't get to go back to Fox News. No, when you're done, you see how hard how difficult it is to try to make ends meet. And until you do that, you shut the fuck up. One last thing. The student loans, I'm convinced that student loans are a military recruitment program. And, again, the GI Bill, right? The GI Bill, they do is they dangle money in front of you in order to get you to join up. And sometimes, by the way, you still get screwed over. Let me detail that. According to Pew Research, 27% of undergrad student veterans, the people that are supposed to be covered by the GI Bill, they took out federal or private student loans. This is back in 2015, 2016. In addition, the median amount borrowed by undergrad veterans exceeded the median among their closest counterparts. Other independent students who are not veterans but also took out student loans. Look at that. You have veterans that are supposed to get free government money to go to college, to get college paid for, are still taking out loans. It's a third of them. The data for the 2015-2016 school year shows that just over half of all undergrad veterans, 52%, enrolled at your used VA education benefits to cover any part of their education. But that just means 48% did not. Now, what's the reason for that? Some veterans might have exhausted their benefits before completing their degrees, meaning the costs, meaning that it doesn't give you a complete full ride. Or some were not able to meet eligibility requirements, which I didn't even know they had. In addition, some members actually chose to transfer some or all of their post 9/11 GI benefits to dependents so that their kids don't have to pay so much of this cost. Pew's analysis found that during fiscal year 2016, which roughly corresponds to the 2015-2016 academic year, dependents of veterans or service members accounted for about 17% of the law's beneficiaries. And then there's the other thing, this for-profit schools. That is something that Greg Gutfeld and the brain trust over at Fox News don't talk about. How these for-profit schools that are scams, like the Trump universities, would go and try to entice veterans to use their GI benefits there. Yeah. In fact, according to people who are assisting veterans with student debt, they say that because for-profit schools tend to have higher tuitions than public or nonprofit colleges, veterans who attend them end up needing to borrow money. And not all former service members are made aware that they're actually borrowing money. This is according to Carrie Wolford, president of Veterans Education Success. She said, many of them say the GI will cover everything. And by the way, there's some paperwork that you need to sign. And it turns out the paperwork that they're signing are loans. She said, that's one of the many things they lie about. And one veteran who served in the Marines went to one of these for-profit schools, used his GI benefits, and of course, when signing up, they said, quote, oh yeah, no, you'll hear from Chevrolet, Ford, and Dodge. This was to be a mechanic. Yeah, skilled trade. And he said, yes, sign me up. I want to make my kids proud. After he graduated, however, he couldn't even land a job at a local mechanic shop. Here's what he said, quote, nobody would hire me. They would look at my certificate and laugh. And you know what? His GI benefits are gone. He can't use them. They're all exhausted, and he's left with debt. And he has no education. And by the way, that story was published back in 2021. At the time, he had no job. No job at all. Can't get a job. No benefits, no job, nothing for all that time. These are the people that Greg Gutfeld is going to war against to prevent them from getting their student loans canceled. No, you got to pay that. Oh, did you get scammed? Ah, sad day for you. Pay up. No, fuck you, Greg Gutfeld. Fuck you and your drunk friend Janine Pirro. Oh yeah, I agree with you. Oh yeah, fuck these kids. Screw you, students. You're terrible. I'm gonna laugh at you. No, you're both awful human beings. All right. Let's, well, that's all I got for you. For stories, military certifications rarely, if ever, transferred to the civilian job market. Also true. All right. Let's read some super chats here before we head out. Jonathan Leiter says, she is a leader. It's the rights fight of predator baiting. Joe Rogan recognized her for her anti-trans stance, pure evil. Evil, pure evil. Yeah, Joe Rogan, it's massively anti-trans. Disgusting. Leather trench coat said, leftists don't need to threaten to murder or terrorize her, right? We just have to walk on a sidewalk while black or trans are obviously climate action positive. True. True, good one. And thank you for the very kind $5 as well. Spin me a sailcloth on the story about corruption. Why are we not taking to the streets over this? That's a good question. It could be the militarized police. That might be part of it. But yes, no, I absolutely wish we would take action to fight against the money in politics. We've got to get it out. And there are groups that are trying to do that. Wolfpack's one of them. There are other groups that are looking to try to go to the U.S. Constitution to try to pass an amendment to get money out of politics. But it's very, very difficult to do. And it's a very, very long process. And it could use a lot more help, and it could use a lot more attention. Virginia Thomas, aka Ice Dragon, says, my parents didn't adopt me because they knew the state had to pay for me to go to college. That sucks. We should absolutely have free college. Wipe out the debt and have free college. If you paid yours already, I mean, yeah, that sucks. I paid a lot of mine. And so I understand, like, hey, wait a minute, I had to pay mine. But it's never a good argument to say, I had to suffer, so should you. So just think about that for a minute. I agree that you shouldn't have had to have paid either. Marty Darno says, thanks for the show, Jeff. Happy 420 to all. Indeed. Indeed. All right. So thank you for all the super chats. Really, really appreciate it, as I said. Let's see. Anything on Twitch going on as far as donations goes? Nope. But thank you to all the 27 viewers that were watching on Twitch. And thank you to the nearly 200 on YouTube. So awesome. Really, really appreciate it. All right, everybody. That's it. Thank you all. Love you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. See you all later.
massive dump.
Wet ass keyword. Tolerize.
Disappointed!
They want to make you drink Starbucks every day from now until forever.
They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking me out the door.